Good morning, everybody. Here we are. We're on percents and decimals. As you can see here, they give you example A for percent as a decimal. They walk you through it using a little art right here to help you understand more of, again, percent is 100. So if we try these down here, we need to write the percent as a decimal. So they give us 30%. Well, we know again here percent means out of 100. So what is out of 100? 30. So we're going to write 30. Okay. We also need to put this as a decimal. Well, if we take a look up here, we know that percentage is out of 100. And then they have our percent 3 out of 100 right here. Our example is 30 out of 100. So if we do 30, so if we do 30 over 100, and we simply divide that, again, the little trick that I showed us in class is here we write 30, we have 2 zeros. So if my decimal's at the far right, I'm going to move to the left 2 times, because when we divide, we're making the number smaller. So we're going to move to the left. Okay, so we're gonna have 30 hundredths because we have our ending result of decimal 0.30. And so again, the 0 is in the hundredths place, so we have 30 hundredths. Okay, and just to give you a little keynote, just a little reminder that here is our decimal, this is our tenths, and then we have our hundredths, and then thousandths as our place value. So that's just a little key reminder. So here we have our tenths, that's right after the decimal. We have our hundredths, which is the second number after the decimal, and then thousandths, which is the third number after the decimal. Okay, those are our place values. And again, anything to the left, all these are whole numbers. Okay, so if we go down to number 2, we have 9%. So 9%, again, percentage is meaning out of 100. So what's out of 100? 9. And a lot of you guys can think of this as stats related, where say on a baseball team, they said 9% of athletes are going into the professional league. Well, the percentage is going to be, 9 out of 100 athletes are going to make it. Okay, not saying that's true. Obviously, that's false, but just as an example. So we have 9 out of 100. Well, now we need to get it to a decimal. So if we take 9 divided by 100, so here's my 9, here's my decimal. Again, there's 2 zeros, so I'm going to move it to the left 2 times. Now notice I have this gap here between my decimal and my 9. You also see that we know it's going to be in the hundredths, so this is my second number after the decimal. So we need to fill in the gap with a 0. A lot of times I noticed in class, a lot of you guys said that this, our 0.9, was 9 hundredths, but that is false. To make it hundredths, it would be 90 hundredths, and that's definitely not the same as 9 hundredths. Okay, so make sure you guys fill in that gap. So we have 9 hundredths, which is 0.09. Okay, and then for number 3, it says write the decimal as a percent. So now we're just working backwards. Here, they show you decimal as a percent. They walk you through the steps here. So we want to take a look, what place value is that in? Okay, again, if we look up here, the number right after decimal, it's in the tenths. So right now, I have 4 over 10, but I want to make it into the hundredths. Well, what number can I multiply to get to 100? Right, we multiply it by 10. So if I multiply this by 10, I have to multiply this by 10. So now I go 4 times 10 is 40. So here I have 40 hundredths, which also means 40, or to get this to a decimal, if I have a whole number of 40, okay, so there's my whole. 100 means add a percent, so we just get to add our percent, so or 40%. Okay, so again, my way is a little bit different than what they're showing up here. So whichever way finds easiest for you guys, please just do whatever's easiest. There's always multiple ways in math. That's the beauty of math. There's more than one ways to get to the right answer. This is just one way I'm showing you guys. For number 4, we have 1 and 25 hundredths. That's the proper way of saying it. So we have 1 and 25 hundredths, okay? Which means, let's see. So if we have our whole number, 1 and 25 hundredths, we want to make sure that it's in the hundredths. So if I move, there's 2 zeros. If I move this over twice, it's actually going to be 125 over 100, which also equals 125%. So we have 125. Let's see. Actually, 1.25. I'm sorry. So which is 1 and 25 hundredths. So 1.25%. Okay? Sorry about that.